You don't have bad habits. You have a self that needs them. Sit with that. Not the habits themselves, the drinking, the scrolling, the anger, the loop of thought you return to at 2 in the morning when sleep won't come, but the one who needs them, because no system of self-improvement has ever honestly addressed this. Every time you fight a habit, you feed the self that has it. Every time you fail, you confirm it. Every time you succeed, you strengthen it. The self grows either way. And the habit? The habit is just the evidence, the footprint, the shape the self leaves behind when it passes through your day. A question asked by a man very few people have heard of, that cuts beneath behavior entirely, into the root. In the last years of his life, Robert Adams sat in small rooms. He sat in rented rooms in Sedona, Arizona. 12 people at most, sometimes fewer, the desert outside. People would come and sit with him, and he would speak, quietly, almost without effort. He was not famous. He did not try to be. He had studied with Ramana Maharshi in India as a young man, and what he brought back was not a philosophy. It was something more direct than that, something closer to a scalpel than a teaching. There is something he said that I keep returning to. The first time I encountered it, something shifted like a floorboard giving way underfoot. He said, "The I is deceiving you all these years, making you believe that if you find the right partner, the right teacher, the right book, the right state to live in, the right country, the right friend, you will be happy. But as we learn from experience, this is not the answer. The answer is within you. You are the answer." My reaction, the first time I read it, was simple. Yes, of course, I know this, and that is exactly the problem. The knowing felt like a rival, like I had understood something and could move on. But Adams was not pointing at a piece of information to be filed and stored. He was pointing at the mechanism itself, the mechanism by which the I, this felt sense of me, that wakes every morning with preferences and fears and a story about who it is, keeps itself alive through seeking the right habit, the right discipline, the right version of itself. And the habits? They are not accidents, they are appointments. The I makes them, keeps them, breaks them, makes them again. And in all of that movement, it proves to itself that it exists. The craving confirms you are real. The fight against the craving confirms you are real. The failure confirms you are real. The fresh start on Monday confirms you are real. This is not metaphor. This is the actual structure of the trap. Adams saw this with a clarity that was almost clinical, and he said something that most spiritual teachers would soften or surround with comfort. He did not soften it. He said, "There are things you must also give up physically. If you find that you are on drugs, that you drink too much, or that you have bad habits, you can work on yourself by practicing self-inquiry. Who needs to get high? Who needs a drink to relax? Who needs entertainment from TV or the radio or anything else? Who needs these things?" Recognizing all along that the answer is the I. Who needs these things? He wasn't interested in the story behind it, just the source. Who is the one asking for this? This is where the teaching cuts deepest. Every approach to habits, every program, every book, every method is built on the same assumption. The problem is the behavior. Change the behavior, and the problem is solved. So we attack the behavior with willpower, with systems, with accountability, with identity-based habit stacking, with 30-day challenges and morning routines, and apps that track our streaks. And it works. Sometimes for weeks, sometimes for months, and then, in an unguarded moment, the old thing returns. The method didn't fail. It just never reached what was actually running the habit. The I. Adams said something I have turned over many times since first encountering it. The fastest way to calm the mind is to search for the I, because the I is still the mind. And when you discover that the I is the self, there will no longer be a mind. Then you automatically transcend the mind. That is the easiest way. The I is still the mind. Not, the I uses the mind. Not, the I is controlled by the mind. The I and the mind are the same movement, the same process, wearing a face. And when you chase a habit, wrestling with it, negotiating with it, rewarding yourself for avoiding it, you are using the mind to fight the mind. Which is the mind? Fighting itself. Which is the I? Going in circles. Which is exactly how it wants to spend your energy. There is a version of this understanding that becomes its own trap. I have met people who encounter non-dual philosophy and use it as permission to do nothing. They say, there is no self, there is nothing to change, everything is already perfect. And they say this while the anger is still there, the compulsions still there, the avoidances still exactly where they left them. Adams had no patience for this. He said it plainly, knowing the truth intellectually changes nothing. Do not use the truth to cover your weaknesses. If you are still getting angry or worried, you have not transcended your mind. This is not gentle. It was not meant to be. The teaching points at something that requires honesty, not belief, not memorization, not even understanding. A willingness to turn and look at the one who is looking. In the middle of an ordinary day, this is what it looks like. The urge rises, the familiar pull toward the familiar thing, and instead of following it or fighting it, you pause, and you ask, for whom does this arise? The answer comes, for me. I feel this. And then, who is this I? You sit with it rather than answer it. Follow it back toward its source, which is not a thought, not a memory, not a story, until the question itself begins to dissolve. Adams said, when you follow the I back to its source and it dissolves, everything it carried dissolves with it. The habits, the conditionings, the patterns that survived every change of environment, every new version of yourself, because they were never separate from the I that had them. I will not pretend this is easy or fast. Adams was clear about this. He spoke of practice and patience, of returning again and again. He warned that the mind will resist. It will offer 100 reasons to stop, to go do something else, to find distraction. He said, your mind is not your friend, which sounds harsh, until you sit quietly for 30 minutes and watch what the mind actually does. Then it sounds like simple description. I keep coming back to an image, a small room, a desert outside, a man sitting quietly, speaking to whoever came. He made no promises, brought no method, just kept returning to the same question in different words. Who is the one who suffers? Who is the one who needs? Who is the one who is trying to change? Robert Adams spent years pointing at something that cannot be grasped intellectually, only discovered through patient attention turned toward its source. He said near the end of one of his talks, "You are the answer." He wasn't talking about the person you are trying to become, the one already here, before the habit, before the urge, before the story of what you need to fix about yourself. I don't have a conclusion for you today, only the question he kept returning to. Less instruction than invitation. Who needs this? Sit with that, not to answer it, but to see what happens to the one who asks. If this reached you, the channel goes deeper, and tell me in the comments, which question stayed with you?